What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Master's Degree podcast right here on the No Holds Barred Network, your source for all wrestling podcast content and more. I'm your host of this podcast, the self-proclaimed Gary's host, Kyle Masters, and God, you just gotta love these wolves, man. Gotta love Darren and these wolves. Just take a listen to this. So good, so good. Thank you very much, Darren and these wolves, for letting me use No Ocean as the official theme song of the Masters Degree podcast. Shout outs to you guys. Go check them out, These Wolves. They're available on Google Play Music, Spotify. Type in These Wolves, follow them, listen to them, support them. They are the official theme song band, I guess, of a lot of podcasts on this network, but especially this one, the Masters Degree podcast, with the song No Ocean. Guys, welcome back. Welcome back to this awesome podcast I'm doing solo here. And we got a little bit of a different episode this week. Usually I would come on here and, talk about trending topics in WWE, New Japan, AEW, whatever it may be, just kind of chat. I've had a special guest host already with Queen from Etney. I want to thank her again for coming on in the last episode. Looking to get more guest hosts out there, so if you guys are interested in guest hosting with me on this podcast, just let me know. Follow me at Real Kyle Masters on Twitter and hit me up in the DMs, and then I'll get you on. We'll talk some wrestling. I always like talking wrestling with other people, so it's always a good time. This episode, I'm going to be by myself, though. Going on a bit of a solo. I mean, I'm always solo on here. What am I talking about? Come on, Kyle. Get it together here. Anyways, guys, I'm going to be doing a different kind of episode. That's what I was trying to say. Special edition episode of this podcast. I hope it goes better than the intro just now. But I will be, basically, as you can see in the thumbnail, rebooking WrestleMania 36. Yes, I'll be rebooking it to a WrestleMania of my desired opinion. I want to know what you guys are thinking out there. I did send out a tweet. I did get a couple of responses I will read on here of some fantasy matches you want to see at this year's WrestleMania. I've booked it in a less fantasy. I mean, there's some fantasy aspects to it, but I try to be as realistic as possible. I didn't try to go and do like, I want The Rock, Stone Cold, Hogan, Cena, Roman, Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania. I didn't go to that route. No, I didn't do a 2K fantasy route. No, I kind of put some real thought into it, and it was a little hard because I haven't been paying attention to the product too much. I've been mostly paying attention to it on social media and YouTube. I haven't been able to sit down and watch a Raw or SmackDown in a while. Just, differences of opinion and all that stuff. So I'm going to do this as best as possible. You guys let me know what you guys think out there. If you're listening back to this on the go, thank you for downloading the episode. Head on over to Twitter and tweet at me what you thought about this episode. Or if you're listening to this on YouTube, make sure you just drop a comment down below. Like the video as well. Let me know what you guys think about my rebooked WrestleMania 36 card. So, yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. So, without further ado, guys, let's get into this. Woo! WrestleMania! Awesome time of the year. It's a great time. I've been to a WrestleMania. I was at WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans. Great time. Awesome to be with wrestling fans on Bourbon Street. That was probably my favorite part of the entire trip. Obviously, experiencing my first ever WrestleMania in that type of environment is always cool. So if you ever get a chance to do it, I highly suggest you get to attend a WrestleMania. Regardless, I think, of what you think of the current product. I think you do once in your life. It is a bucket list thing. You need to experience WrestleMania. I did it in an interesting way, as I live all the way up here in Canada, and I drove all the way down to New Orleans with a former co-host of mine on this network, Corbett Cappy, and a couple of our friends. And we drove down. Took us about 23 hours to get there. We did stop in Nashville and sleep on the way down. But on the way back, we did drive right through. It was a hell of a drive, but it was definitely worth it. It was so much fun that entire weekend, just doing everything with all the wrestling fans. Like, it was just an amazing time. And again, I highly suggest you guys do it. I want to do it again. Like, you guys know me. If you know me on this network, I am a massive AEW mark right now, and I don't watch the product anymore. But I would still attend a WrestleMania because it's that much fun. So again, like I just said, If you guys get to experience it, experience it. Okay? I love these little sound effects. I had some sound effects on the soundboard. It's cool on Spreaker. Anyways, so WrestleMania 36 this year, live from Tampa, Florida. Beautiful weather up there. Hopefully WrestleMania will be beautiful for you guys going down. Hoping all the best for the weather-wise that entire weekend. It's from Tampa, Florida, at Raymond James Stadium. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers play there. Coincidentally, it influenced the logo this year. You got the whole pirate sword and the flag and the whole pirate-style logo. I thought it's a pretty cool-looking WrestleMania logo. I thought it's probably one of their best ones yet. They have 3 announced matches as of this podcast. They have Brock Lesnar versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship, Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair for the NXT Women's Championship, and Becky Lynch versus to be determined, this is on my screen, for the Raw Women's Championship. I'm assuming they're determining that in the Raw Women's Elimination Chamber match. So I'm assuming it's all going to point towards Shayna Baszler winning that. The story is there. You know, it's not hard to read the writing on the wall, what's going to happen at WrestleMania. I don't think they're going to be going in a different route. I have my redone WrestleMania card. Some of the matches could be the same, some not. I'm going to let that be a surprise for you to listen for the rest of the show. And no, I won't do timestamps. Who does timestamps? That's a waste of time. Come on, listen to the whole thing, guys. Listen to everything I have to say, please, if you want. Oh, boy. Anyways, yeah, so it's going to be an interesting one. I've done a pre-show and a main card. I've done 3 pre-show matches. And main card did about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I should have counted this before. 7, 8, 9. I've done 9 main card matches, 3 pre-show matches, just like a regular WrestleMania. Extra long for you to sit in that seat in that stadium for half a day. Some of these matches make sense. I think the WrestleMania card that I've built sounds like a fun one. I don't know. I may or may not translate it to 2K. I don't have 2K20 because I never bought that garbage. I do still have 2K19. I may translate it over to that game. We'll see how you guys like this card. If you guys like it enough, maybe I will do a simulation of this WrestleMania card. So you guys let me know what you think. So we'll start off in the pre-show. Yay! Everyone's fun and favorite time of the entire WrestleMania card. And it also sucks if the pre-show, like say you're in an outdoor stadium. I think that the worst part about the pre-show, if you're outdoors and it's really sunny, like it has been for the last couple of places they've gone, it does kind of stink. If you're on the wrong side of the stadium and the sun's shining in your eyes, like it doesn't look like a good time. And to me, the first time I seen that in the people's reaction, hearing about the people's reaction, was WrestleMania 31 in San Francisco, and you could see, if you guys go back and watch that pre-show, their sun is just gleaming down, and people are like holding their hands over their eyes, and can you imagine doing that for like 3 hours straight? And there's some pretty decent matches in that pre-show, so, you know, I do feel for the people that get on the wrong side of that. So, anyways, my pre-show. So the opening contest I've done for the pre-show is I'm going to keep the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal here at WrestleMania. I'm going to have this as the opener of the pre-show. Yes, you announce this too. You don't just announce this on the day of. You announce this week before, 2 weeks before, to get people in that building early, and you open those doors early. You get people that want to get to their seats to watch this because mine is going to actually mean something. Isn't that funny? This actually means something. This is where WWE runs into the problem with this Battle Royal. They always fear of it. They always have to. They've converted it to the pre-show, and the person that wins it with the trophy just has the trophy for like the first 3 weeks of Raw or SmackDown, and then you never see the trophy again. You stop hearing about it. I think you need to bring something to this Battle Royal in order for it to mean something. And I don't care. You can keep it on the pre-show, but you make it mean something. So my Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal will open up the pre-show, and the winner receives a championship match opportunity at SummerSlam. Doesn't matter what championship it is. It could be one of the minor titles. It could be a main championship. They get to choose, but the winner would receive a championship match at SummerSlam. Now, I know it's a big stipulation. A lot of people say, well, why doesn't it just open the main card? Because you're giving away a free championship match. But I think they should bring some excitement to the pre-show because a lot of people just like to skip the pre-show, and it's always been like a skippable thing with if you're watching at home. Obviously, when you're there, you can't really skip over it unless you decide to get into the arena late. You know what I mean? So I think you kind of want to make the pre-show mean something, and this is a perfect way to do it. And it's WrestleMania, so obviously a stipulation like this for a WrestleMania card shouldn't be that hard to understand. So this match, again, I've said it, it's a forever pre-show match, and it's actually a damn shame. I wish it was in the main card more, but I'm going to make this more meaningful. So they get to choose a championship match, whatever championship they choose for this year's SummerSlam. So you're building towards SummerSlam already at WrestleMania. This way, again, winning the match, like I said, you win the match, you're not just carrying a trophy for 3 weeks, and then we never see it again. So this way you can actually give some people with no current storyline some WrestleMania time. So, I mean, it does. That's another topic for another day. I've slightly discussed it on this show. WWE has way too many damn wrestlers, and sometimes they don't know what to do with a lot of them, and some of them just kind of get pushed under the rug, and it's a shame because there's a lot of talented people that get pushed under that rug. So this also gives a chance for these people to actually say that live their dream. They want to have a match at WrestleMania, and to make this battle royal even more meaningful makes their first WrestleMania match or their WrestleMania match in general more meaningful as well. So, and it's on the pre-show. It shouldn't affect too much with their pay scale or anything like that. You can have some people I would actually have people from Raw, from SmackDown, and some from NXT. You showcase NXT a little bit. And I have booked winners for each of these matches for this show. So the booked winner I put for this Battle Royal, and it's going to tie into maybe my NXT bias, but I picked an NXT superstar to win the Battle Royal, and I picked Johnny Gargano simply because there's been a lot of talks with this guy over the last year about him possibly transitioning over to Raw or SmackDown eventually, even before NXT is being labeled as its own brand. We don't know now. Maybe NXT is just going to keep the stars they have now. Maybe when they do a draft again, we're going to get some shuffling, or they'll do like a superstar shakeup. I'm going to book Johnny Gargano as this winner because I do kind of feel like they want eventually Johnny Gargano to get that main TV spotlight. And, there's a lot of people that he can have excellent matches with on the main roster itself, or, on Raw or SmackDown. What I'm trying to say, I hate saying main roster in NXT. I hate it, and I sometimes make that mistake, and it sucks because I actually don't think that way. But I would book Johnny Gargano as the winner here. You make him win. You make him eventually, maybe down the line, I don't know, someone that we'd love to see a fantasy match with at SummerSlam for a championship, whether it be a minor or major title. There's a lot of people off the top of my head I could love to see a Gargano have a match with on the main roster. You can maybe have a Daniel Bryan. You can have an AJ Styles, a Ricochet, like we've seen the matches they've done in NXT with Ricochet. We can do a Seth Rollins. Like, there's a lot of people off the top of my head like you can think of for Gargano to have excellent match with, or maybe we finally get the conclusion of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. I know that storyline's not over yet. We get that conclusion, and these guys face each other on the SummerSlam card for a major championship. Maybe Tommaso gets put on the main roster somehow and wins a championship, whatever. Or maybe just Johnny Gargano chooses a championship in NXT. We never know. But I would book Johnny Gargano as the winner here. I think he deserves a WrestleMania type win, and I think this would be a perfect start for the rest of his career and for the rest of his WrestleMania career. So good on you, Johnny. I'm picking you for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. All right, so next I have a NXT/NXT UK showcase match in the pre-show. So I want to have WrestleMania feature a lot of NXT because I think NXT now being established as that third brand more than ever now. Like, as I thought about them as a third brand all along. I just, now it's being almost advertised as they're the next brand. I would have an NXT UK showcase match, and I would have a 4-on-4 match. Yes, I would have a 4-on-4. You have every member of Imperium against every member of the Undisputed Era. Now, a lot of people would probably criticize that, like having like you shouldn't have Adam Cole and Walter in the pre-show, that kind of like demotes them in a way, but you guys just wait for my WrestleMania card and you'll understand where and why I couldn't fit those guys on the main card. So I believe at this point also in the pre-show, you're going to have more people filed in. You'll have enough attendance. You're going to have the NXT fans there in attendance, obviously being in Florida, and the TakeOver crowd filing into WrestleMania as well. So they're going to get a proper reaction, these guys. And they're also going to get a good reaction from some of the main roster fans that know about them. Again, like I think we should be focusing on pushing more NXT matches at WrestleMania to help them out filling the rest of the card out, because they like to push a lot of matches on these cards. So I would put Imperium versus the Undisputed Era, 4-on-4 tag team match, showcase both teams. Again, yes, it's going to include Adam Cole. He might even have a match the night prior, but we've seen Adam Cole do double duty before. He did the Royal Rumble and TakeOver in the same weekend, so this is nothing new for him, and it's a pre-show match, so it shouldn't be too hard of a thing for him to do. We've seen him do stuff like that before. As for the booked winner, I actually would book Imperium over the Undisputed Era. I know Undisputed Era, they want to make that team look like the dominant force out of all three brands, but Imperium, I think, could get a really should get the win here and establish themselves as another strong group, because they're the newer team, and Undisputed Era has actually been around for a while now, and I think you need to give a little bit of a boost to Imperium. They're just such a brutal and amazing looking tag team, and I think they should get the over here, and it just, to me, in my eyes, it would just make sense for Imperium to go over in the pre-show. Next, I have the third and final pre-show match, and this is the match, most of the majority of the fans are already filed in at this point, and, a lot of people are excited for the card to start, so they're a lot more invested always into that third match, because they just wanted to, half the time, they just wanted to end to start the main card, and, they're fired up. It's a WrestleMania match. It's so close to the main card, so, I've added something like a surprise to this one. This is interesting. This is where the semi-fantasy part comes in here, and a lot of people probably wouldn't agree to this, but because it's a pre-show. But bear with me here. So I have a fatal 4-way for the women's tag team championships. You have Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross versus Kairi Sane and Asuka versus Rose and Deville. And the fourth team is a surprise. It's a surprise. You can either announce this the week of, like the go-home show, that the fourth team hasn't been decided yet. It could be a surprise, or maybe like they decided on a fourth team and they weren't able to compete. Maybe you have like Beth Phoenix come out and announce that there's going to be a fourth team. And even if hearing that, guys, you guys probably think, oh, so it's going to be Beth Phoenix and Natalya. No. They could have a fourth team, and then it's a surprise. So whoever announces it, kind of like Hardy Boys style, they announce who the fourth team is, and that is Trish and Lita coming together, creating a WrestleMania moment. Yes, you create a WrestleMania moment in that pre-show. You have Trish and Lita come out, the two who've had a massive history together in the WWE, but coming together as a tag team to be in this Fatal 4-Way Women's Tag Team Championship match. You get the crowd that's already there is going to be just losing their minds. There should be enough crowd in the arena at this point that they could have this look really cool. I think this could be an exciting match as well. They could create some wow factor with Lita and Trish doing some cool moves, showing that, like giving the crowd that chance to go, you still got it, that kind of stuff. I think this could be a cool dynamic out of all four teams here. Now, for a booked winner, this is going to be interesting because I really want to know who you guys would book as a winner here. But I booked Trish and Lita to win the Women's Tag Team Championships. I would probably book them to have a small run with them as well. Appear on Raw the next night, defend them maybe at Raw, or defend them at the next pay-per-view, which I'm assuming it's an overseas show or whatever they're going to do, or Backlash. And then by then you can choose on another winner to carry forward, and then Trish and Lita can go. But I would, for a wow factor WrestleMania moment, it just screams WWE. You'd have Trish and Lita win the women's tag team championship match in the pre-show. And that's how you end out the pre-show. The crowd's insane. They're hyped. They're going crazy. Like, Trish and Lita just won the women's tag team championships, and I think that's the way you get the crowd fired up for the main card. And yeah, that's the pre-show, everybody. Yeah, thank you. Oh, thank you all. Yeah, it was great. I know. Don't mention it. I'm crazy, guys. I'm crazy. So let's get into that main card, ladies and gentlemen. The main WrestleMania card. Yes, what all you guys are all been waiting for. How am I going to rebook this card? Oh, you guys better strap yourselves in and get ready for this. Again, I didn't go too fantasy. I went a little bit, but some of the matches make sense. Just bear with me while I go through all these, guys. So we'll start with the opening contest of WrestleMania, the first match on the card. And I was always a fan of when WrestleMania opens with that ladder match. They started back at WrestleMania 21 with the Money in the Bank. That's when the Money in the Bank first debuted. They had that Money in the Bank ladder match to open the card. Like, these type of matches opening WrestleMania should open WrestleMania. I was a firm believer that it's a way to keep the crowd hot. I mean, they're already hot from my pre-show, but they're going to be even more fired up with this show. So with this match, I have an 8-man ladder match for the United States Championship. The participants I have in this match are huge stars in the WWE, guys, and it's another way to open up the card. You have AJ Styles, Ricochet, Andrade, Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens, Humberto, Mysterio, and Bobby Lashley. So you have major stars there, guys. Andrade obviously going in as the champion. I always loved the WrestleMania ladder matches to open it, man. It gets me excited, it gets you fired up. With this type of match for the U.S. title, it gives that match a much needed prestige, like a boost for that U.S. championship. And with that roster, this is how you open the show of shows, ladies and gentlemen. With that type of match with these people, you're sure to have a really great ladder match. Now, some people might say that's kind of unfair to Andrade, but I think with his recent suspension, they could maybe storyline that or make this a type of match as a punishment in a way. You know, they kind of bring that kind of kayfabe into it. I think it's an interesting way to do it. So that's a way to kind of get around the whole, like, well, how come Andrade, it's not really fair to him to defend his title against 7 other stars, something like that. And that's how I would do it. If they did this match right, and to me, it says a lot right there. This match could potentially steal the show. I honestly think so, guys, because I'm talking about comparing this to NXT TakeOver New Orleans, the one I was at, the North American title ladder match that opened that show was amazing. Probably the best ladder match one of the best ladder matches I've ever seen. So if you can compare that or make it similar to that in terms of booking the match-wise, I think you can have an insane ladder match and an unforgettable opening to WrestleMania, as it should be. The opening of WrestleMania should be one of those things you remember for forever. Like, that's the way to kick off WrestleMania, and this is the way you kick it off. As for the booked winner, I do have AJ Styles going over here and winning that U.S. Championship. I think you need someone to carry that title after WrestleMania to keep that prestige level up and to get it over even more. AJ being without a singles title for too long in my eyes, and they kind of want to push the OC a little bit more too. So you have AJ Styles with a major championship like the U.S. Championship going forward after WrestleMania. So maybe you have the OC help AJ in the match. Maybe they do something to keep that heat on him. But I would still for sure have AJ Styles win this match. So the second match, guys, I'm laughing because we're going from craziness and continuing that craziness. You're going to think that this is actually an Extreme Rules pay-per-view, but no, it's going to continue, and we're going to keep the crowd fired up. I'm going to keep this match the same. It looks like this match is going to happen at this year's WrestleMania, and I would keep it because I love the storyline between these two, and I love the history between these two. And that is Edge versus Randy Orton, but I would make this a no-holds-barred match. Yes, pun intended, to the No Holds Barred Network. Shout-outs to our network. So basically shouting out me because I own the network. It's kind of weird. Anyways, yeah, Edge and Randy Orton, no holds barred match. I mean, the match, guys, it really speaks for itself. I think WWE is currently doing a good job with this feud in a nice transition match for Edge's return to the WWE. Lots of history between these two. We know everything from Rated RKO to them even facing each other in the past. We've seen Orton with his chair shots the last couple of weeks. It's only fitting that Edge would want to get some revenge in a hardcore type of manner. I thought about this. I thought it would make it a chairs match, but I mean, that's too I mean, I want to make this. They want to use every weapon in the book, and I know a lot. This also screams like, oof, like Edge just came back. You don't want to re-aggravate that injury and yada, yada, yada. They can have a no-holds-barred match and still keep Edge's neck safe. They can do a lot of things. So that's why I would book this a no-holds-barred type of match. Edge seems to be in the best shape of his life. I think he's still got a lot left in the tank to give us some classics. And I mean, you can have more wrestling aspect to a no-holds-barred match. You can keep a lot of wrestling in it without a lot of use of weapons, and still have that no-holds-barred type of match. You can still do like chairs. You can do maybe one table spot. There's not going to be any disqualifications, or you can just have a lot of stuff around the ring, a lot of like outside spots. So I would book this match to go over a lot, with many false finishes as well. I think these two have the capability of doing that. Get both guys over in that aspect. Have a couple of RKO kickouts, have a couple of spear kickouts. But as for the book winner, I'm giving it to Edge. He needs to win with the comeback, and Orton can take. He can win this with this comeback for Edge. Sorry, and Orton can go take his contracted obligated break after Mania, and then Edge can go on to other things. So that's how I would book that match, guys, and that is the second match on the WrestleMania card. Edge versus Randy Orton in a no-holds-barred type of match. So next on the docket, and that's the third match, guys, and we have a women's match. We have the SmackDown Women's Championship being defended. So we are going to have Sasha Banks versus Bayley. This one is an interesting one to book. So Sasha Banks versus Bayley, SmackDown Women's Championship. I think you need Sasha on the card in a championship form. I really do. The fact that she is the most underutilized woman in the WWE is actually a cry in shame. She's definitely a top 3 wrestler out of everyone on that roster, and I honestly don't know how she hasn't had a WrestleMania moment yet. Like, I don't know why. Like, she's good on the mic. She's good at her charisma is like top notch, and she's great. She's one of the best wrestlers in the ring. So I don't understand why she's so underutilized. And what better way to book her than turning on her new BFF Bayley? They're both heels right now, but you know what? You make Sasha the baby face here. It's a different kind of dynamic going into WrestleMania. Usually, you think Bayley and Sasha Banks facing each other. You think Bayley's the baby face, Sasha Banks the heel, that boss type character. We've seen Sasha Banks pull off that boss type character as a baby face. I think you still keep that boss type anger. I don't think heel Bayley thing. Okay, so sorry. Scratch that. I kind of just went off the top of my head without reading my own damn notes. I'm going to reverse here. But okay, so I'm going to say, what better way than turning on our best friend BFF Bayley? So I don't think the heel Bayley thing is working. It's not clicking for me, or I don't really think it's clicking for anybody. I'm not sure if anyone's really falling for it. That's just kind of my opinion. So you turn Sasha into that aggressive, boss-like bitch type of girl that we know that just beats the living hell out of Bayley to the point where actually, the crowd probably starts to feel sympathy. You kind of tie in, you make the crowd and everybody feel sympathy for Bayley and get her back on that Bayley that used to all love side and get behind. This creates a nice, easy transition for Bayley to go back to babyface and Sasha to stay as that boss-like heel that everyone loved, and she deserves to be because she rocks that character, guys. She absolutely kills it. We saw, and I want the boss character from NXT. I don't want the main roster type of boss. I want her to bring that old aggressive side to this feud. And you give these two ladies all that creative freedom in the world. when it comes to this match and in the ring and in the promos. I'm talking about you make these girls have a NXT TakeOver Brooklyn match vibe, and it's just the match vibes are all over it, and maybe they even go over the top beyond that, because their NXT Brooklyn or TakeOver Brooklyn match is still one of the best women's matches of all time, and I'm not lying, and I will I'll argue with you to the day I die if you try to argue with me, because that was one of the greatest women's matches I've ever seen. So these two need to have that type of match again, especially on a WrestleMania platform for a championship, the SmackDown Women's Championship. And then as for a booked winner, I'm actually booking the heel way here, and I'm booking Sasha Banks to win that championship. Finally, Sasha gets her WrestleMania big title win, because she rightfully deserves that. And as the character, she deserves to win it as that. She deserves to win it as that boss-like, that boss-like bitch, like I was saying, that aggressive heel, the boss type that we remember from NXT. And she rightfully deserved that WrestleMania moment that she obviously got. I think she still got robbed of at WrestleMania 32. I literally think that should have been her to win that match. So that's how I would book this match. You guys let me know what you guys think about that SmackDown Women's Championship match. So next match on the docket. We're following up with another championship match. This is for the Intercontinental Championship. I have it booked as a triple threat match. I have Braun Strowman versus Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sheamus. So I'm keeping the current storyline right now. I'm pretty sure the storyline is currently Braun and Nakamura. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Because to be honest, I really don't know what else to do here with this one. I was erasing all the time. I didn't know how to book this Intercontinental Championship match. It just, to me, all I've seen in the last couple months is they changed the look of it, really. The only thing I could think of was to make it a little bit more creative by adding Sheamus to the mix, because that dude is legit a beast. Sheamus is another guy that's in the best shape of his career and probably should be in a big match come this WrestleMania. You've seen what he's done coming back from injury and in the Celtic workouts he's done. The guy's got to be in the most ridiculous shape of his entire career, and I actually love the Sheamus character itself. So I think he deserves to be in a type of championship match at this year's WrestleMania. I think these three could have a very interesting match with the size, the style, the dynamic here. It kind of works to make you think about what could happen in this match. I don't think we've really seen a championship match of this caliber before, especially with a guy like Shinsuke Nakamura and what he's all about, a guy like Sheamus and a guy like Braun. I mean, Sheamus and Braun are usually basically almost the same. Maybe Sheamus can, move a little bit faster than Braun, and Shinsuke Nakamura. So, as for the booked winner here, I actually booked Sheamus as the winner for the Intercontinental Championship. I think it's the obvious choice in my opinion. Another title that needs to be elevated more after WrestleMania and get some more prestige behind it. And Sheamus, I think, is the man to do it, obviously with all his vignettes that he's been doing. And I think we need if you're going to continue with this whole rebuilt of Sheamus going back to his roots, you need to put a championship on him right away. What better championship to do that than the Intercontinental Championship? So that's how I would book the Intercontinental Championship, guys. Let me know again down below what you guys think, or tweet at me at RealKyleMaster. All right. So, next match on the docket. I have the NXT Women's Championship happening here. And I have Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte. Yes, the actual match that's happening right now. I was really not on board with these two going at it at first. I originally booked this as a NXT Showcase women's title match. Would have been Rhea Ripley maybe versus Bianca Belair or something else, just to showcase some NXT talent. But after sleeping on it and rewatching these promos between these two and thinking about a match with these two, I kind of want to see these two go at it. You know what I mean? I want to see these two girls go at it in the ring. I think these two in the ring, wrestling-wise, and giving the time to show their craft, I think could put on one of the matches of the night, to be honest. Hands down. I think these two could, if they're given the whole creative freedom in the ring, match of the night for sure. Both are absolute beasts in the ring, almost have a similar style if you really think about it and really think about what these two do in the ring. Just both have a different appearance. What I'm saying is, you look at Rhea and her work in the ring, she's really aggressive, she's really physical, but Charlotte is also as well. It's that appearance that she gives off that you don't really think that. And she's obviously she's more charismatic, being a Flair. but I think these two actually have a almost similar style in the ring. So I think this also helps with showcasing how stacked and how huge their women's division is, giving an NXT women's title match on WrestleMania with the prestige of these two ladies. And I'm sticking that route that they actually are doing on Real TV, which is great. I'm actually happy that WWE is actually going in that route. As for a booked winner, so this is tough. A lot of people are probably going to argue this, but I actually have Rhea Ripley winning and retaining the women's championship. I truly believe you need to make Rhea win here as well, because I think she is a future top player in this division, and she needs a giant WrestleMania win to bring her into that category, because she's ready to go right now to be in that top tier. And I think Charlotte can take an L here. She's got the history already. She's made a lot of history. She won't be going down to NXT after WrestleMania to mess around down there with the NXT Women's Championship. She's going to be sticking on Raw or SmackDown, going after the next feud there. So I think you make these two have a really good match. Lots of false finishes, that type of style. And Rhea Ripley just escapes with retaining the championship. And I think it's okay for Charlotte to take an L here. She's got her already WrestleMania win already. So, I mean, she could take the L here. So, Rhea Ripley, again, I'm thinking she's for sure a top player in the division. She needs a big win with that. So, yeah, Rhea Ripley, NXT Women's Champion, retaining at WrestleMania. The next match here, guys. Okay. This is an interesting match, and this is where some of the, like I said before, some of the fantasy booking comes into it. I have a simple one-on-one match here, and this involves John Cena. We know John Cena is going to get involved somehow in this year's WrestleMania. Rumors are all pointing towards him and Elias. Not sure how I feel about that, but it is what it is. This is how I would book John Cena. And I think these two need to have another match together. I think you need to do it on a WrestleMania type level. Last time we got these two with a match with each other, they were at a regular pay-per-view. I think you have John Cena versus Roman Reigns, but you add a stipulation. And I'll get into that stipulation with like explaining how this feud would go about, guys. So obviously, with the rumor out there in the picture looking like Roman will be facing the Fiend for the Universal Championship match in some way, I will not be booking him in that capacity, which you will see how I book the Universal Championship later on. The fact that Cena and Reigns have only gotten one match together is actually truly shocking to me, and I'm actually shocked that it didn't happen at a WrestleMania, because I think these two are the type of wrestlers that have to have that WrestleMania, that Rock versus Cena, that Hogan versus Rock, that Austin versus Rock type of moment at WrestleMania to pass the torch. And Cena is at that point in his career now, winding down, almost done, to finally pass that torch. It has not happened yet. I do not count that pay-per-view match as the passing of the torch, because it needs to happen in a different way, and it needs to happen at WrestleMania, your show of shows. These two have the energy and charisma and whatever you like to call it to make a WrestleMania type build. They could have epic promos. We saw their epic promo last year. That a video that I still go back and watch on a regular basis, ladies and gentlemen, because it is so awesome. The breaking of that fourth wall type promo between Roman and Cena, where Roman forgot his lines and Cena just absolutely destroyed him, because it would make for an amazing build. And two, if you let these guys go, if you guys give them, I'm going to say this word a lot, if you give these guys a creative freedom, holy crap, this match might actually take the cake for the night. You got to think about it here, guys. If you give these guys all the creative freedom in the world, in their promos, in their match, these two could have that type of Rock Cena, that type of Hogan Rock type of match, or, Undertaker Shawn Michaels type of match. Could you imagine what we could get? Like, think about it for a sec, guys. Like, this needs to happen. Not only would Cena, of all people, be the guy to make Roman look like a Hall of Famer, but these two could actually have a really good match. Like, we got a glimpse of it before. And to stir the pot even more, this is where it gets into it. This is where the stipulation comes into it, and to make it even more interesting. You make Cena absolutely, like, you have to get Roman to piss off Cena to the point where Cena just gets cocky. He becomes a cocky SOB, and he puts his damn career on the line. Yes, if he loses the match, Cena will walk away for good, and he will claim Roman Reigns as the man, the next. He is John Cena now. Like, John Cena will go away. He's done with the WWE. Not in terms of matches, but in terms of promoting and stuff, he'll always come back. But really, guys, let's face it. Cena has really done everything in wrestling that he needs to do. He doesn't need to do anything. He doesn't need to go for Ric Flair's championship record. He's come out and said he does not want to break that record. He doesn't need to do anything. He's done everything. And if he retires, like, say if Cena does retire, say if I booked him to lose this match, we've already seen, a.k.a. Shawn Michaels, that he can come back eventually to maybe have one more match. But as for the storyline based on this match, you make Cena put his damn career on the line. You are adding so much more prestige to the match and making it a must-see WrestleMania match. Can you imagine building the hype for this match? Cena putting his damn career on the line against Roman Reigns. Like, it writes itself in my eyes, and it could go down as one of the greatest WrestleMania matches in the history books. One they pull out like an encyclopedia of WrestleMania match, and they have like the top 100 matches of all time. This match could break the top 20. I'm just saying. As for a book winner, it's simple, guys. You make Roman Reigns win, passing of the torch rightfully, and that's how you book John Cena off of television, off of WWE for good, and that's how you book Roman as the official passing of the torch. I mean, it's just, I don't understand why they even went the route they went before with The Undertaker and everything. This match needs to happen, and I don't know why it's not happening at this year's WrestleMania of all places. So that's how I would book it, guys, and I would book Cena versus Reigns, Cena's career on the line. All right, so next on the docket, guys, this is an interesting one. A lot of people would agree with this just because of where they are in point of the road to WrestleMania. But you guys got to think about it as I'm booking it here. So this is where the Universal Championship comes into play, and this is how I would book it. Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, still Universal Championship. Still Universal Champion. I'm going to stick to what I said on the last episode of the Master's Degree and how I would book Bray Wyatt. I suggested that Aleister Black should be facing the Fiend for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania. And I'm going to describe to you guys how I would do it. I still believe that making him win the Rumble and Drew still facing Brock could have still worked. You could have had Aleister Black win the Rumble. It would have been an off-the-board pick. It would have been amazing. We saw what Drew did to Brock in that Royal Rumble based off the fact that him eliminating Brock, and it was such an epic moment. The crowd went amazing. You can build a story and easily build a match on top of that. Or, hey, maybe you have Drew go in an Elimination Chamber number one contender match or something and win it again to face Brock. I mean, that story is already there. I think you need to have the Universal Championship mean a little bit more something, so you have Aleister Black have won the Universal Championship. Now, here, I think the better story and build is with The Fiend and Aleister Black. It's a dream match. I think it's on everyone's mind, and I think it's an easy trigger to pull. It would have been an easy trigger to pull, this year. Black has been going around, with his knocking on the door stuff, those type of promos he's been doing, like who's going to knock on his door next. How badass would it be if he's cutting one of those promos after the Rumble where he says he doesn't choose which champion he wants to face at WrestleMania. The champion must come knocking on his door looking to challenge him. How awesome of a twist is that? That the Royal Rumble winner is not choosing which champion he wants to face at WrestleMania. The champion has to come and knock on his door and ask to face him. So that just makes Aleister Black that much more of a badass. It makes those vignettes actually mean something, and make it, you can make it more mean something with the way you do it with the Fiend. You have the Fiend answer the door knock on his Firefly Funhouse. You do something like that, and you do all sorts of promos and mind games between these two. These guys could have like an Undertaker and Kane type of WrestleMania build. If you guys don't remember that, go watch that feud. It's probably one of the best builds ever between Kane and the Undertaker to WrestleMania 20. You play mind games and stuff like that between these two. These two have the capacity, and they have that charisma, and they have that character type feel to make these promos actually be awesome. I would even have Black play mind games with The Fiend. This way, 100% you get people psyched. People are like, oh, damn, The Fiend is getting, like, mind gamed by Aleister Black. Like, what's this Aleister Black guy about? Like, we should pay more attention to this feud. And if we're talking about the actual match itself, like, my God, guys, these two would put on a clinic. We know what Aleister Black's about. We know what Bray Wyatt's about. These guys are both awesome wrestlers. You put these two dynamics together in a match. You have The Fiend. You have Aleister Black. It would just be amazing. You don't do any of that red light crap. Turn that off. Turn that stupid stuff off. Nuh-uh. You do not do that. You keep this match in a regular light match. Booked winner actually would have The Fiend, of all people, go over on Aleister Black. Yeah, it sucks when the Rumble winner doesn't win, but unfortunately, to Aleister Black, Bray is the bigger story here and the bigger build here and should be protected. So that's why I would choose The Fiend going over here and still continuing that dominant Universal Championship story going beyond WrestleMania. Because I don't believe just because WrestleMania is around the corner, the major championships have to change hands. So I would book The Fiend going over on Aleister Black, and I just believe that this would be a really sweet and sick Universal Championship built. Next on the docket, guys, I have the Raw Women's Championship taking place here. And damn, I'm almost out of breath here. And it just feels like I'm watching WrestleMania for 8 hours. I'm sorry, guys. But I have Becky Lynch with Shayna Baszler for the Raw Women's Championship. Yes, it's another match currently being billed by the WWE that I would keep the same because this match actually needs to happen ASAP, and it's a match that we need to see happen because it's in the both people are at the same state right now, and it needs to come together ASAP. Toot sweet, you need to book this match. Becky Lynch has been going around saying she's the man, the ultimate badass for too much time now, and it's kind of getting worn out a bit, so this needs to happen now, and you need to have Shayna Baszler come up and step up to the man. These two ladies, again, they're similar badass mentalities, two different brands. It's perfect combination for an epic match. The build is the best part of it. This needs to be a healthy mix of promos and beatdowns, enough to keep you invested and to keep you hyped going forward into the women's match at Mania. What WWE did with the biting thing that they've done so far, I mean, I can't really tell if I'm behind that yet. There was a little bit too much blood for my liking, which I think that was probably the issue in that whole thing. Other than that, it was awesome. I think both these two need to be given freedom like Cena and Reigns and just absolutely rip each other apart in promos. Just go nuts, break many fourth walls as possible. You can even include like real life 4 Horsewomen stuff. You can say that I would have even Shayna break out some MMA chirping and call out Becky for never doing it. You know, kind of like bring in real things, like bring in real stuff. It always gets people's attention and keeps that attention when you do stuff like that. That's what I mean by breaking the fourth wall. You do stuff that's not typical WWE scripted scripted promos. You go off the script. Gotta really think these two could actually be given like 30-minute, like these girls could be given like a 30-minute Iron Woman match and it would deliver. Like these two would just go nuts over it. I cannot put my finger on it if I would book a stipulation. It's really tough. If I could book one though, guys, stay with me here, please. I would book these two and you go all out. You have these two go in a Hell in a Cell match. Yes, we've had a WrestleMania Hell in a Cell matches before. I think these two have the badass mentality and the aggressiveness and all that bundled up into a ball to put these two in a Hell in a Cell, and it would be an epic tilt. The only two women right now on the roster who could actually put on an instant classic and a women's Hell in a Cell match, Shayna Baszler versus Becky Lynch. I think this is where you do it. So you have a women's Hell in a Cell match for the Raw Women's Championship. Make it an instant classic. Make it a WrestleMania moment. And as for the booked winner, I actually have Shayna Baszler going out on top. It's time for the reigning of the man to come to an end and her reign over the women's division and step aside for the new ultimate badass to come in and claim that division, and that is Shayna freaking Baszler. Whew. Yes. Damn freaking right. Thank you. To my studio audience there. And last but not least, guys, we're going into the main event of WrestleMania. And we haven't heard his name yet, and that is Brock Lesnar, and I would book him in the WWE Championship match of WrestleMania in the main event. All right, so this is truly the main event I think both guys deserve, to be honest, especially more on McIntyre, obviously. I don't think Brock has had a legit opponent that could, that people could get behind since AJ Styles got Survivor Series, a few years back. That match was probably one of the best Brock Lesnar matches I've ever seen. I think Drew is the perfect build. He's the perfect style and just a perfect opponent for Brock to have a legit match with. 1,000% last more than 5 minutes. This match doesn't. If you're making this the main event match and how I would make it the main event match, you do not book this a 5 or 10 minute match. You give these guys no more than 25 minutes in the ring. Brock has the capability of doing that. He can do this easily. Both these guys can do this type of match. 25 minutes, instant classic for the WWE Championship. There's a lot you can do with angles that gives these guys maybe a little bit of a breather because we know their stamina is not the greatest, at least more on Brock Lesnar's side. So there's a lot you can do with 25 minutes. The build for this would be standard build, but I think you turn it up a little here. You turn the notch just a little. You crank it up a little bit to make this a epic type of main event. Obviously, you're going to have Paul Heyman, the Advocate stuff, but I think you make Heyman go on another level too. Yes, you twist this around a little bit. And you have Brock do everything in his power to try and take out Drew before Mania, and here comes the magic. So you make sure Brock does everything. They do backstage spots where stuff falls on Drew McIntyre. He gets hit by a car. They run him over the monster truck. I don't care. You think of stuff. You guys get that creative team. The juice is flowing. You make sure it gets Drew McIntyre is incapacitated by the time WrestleMania comes. And by the go-home show for Mania, you have Brock in some way, in some angle, you use vehicles or whatnot to take out Drew to the point where his career, you storyline it that his career and Mania match are in jeopardy. And you make it to the match, like people don't know if this WrestleMania main event is even going to happen. You bring in that realism. You do whatever it takes to bring in that realism. What it's shown, Drew McIntyre in a hospital with a gown and a wrapped leg with his leg up on the thing. You do everything to make it look legit. You can even have the commentators talk about during Mania saying that no one has seen Drew, or there's reports that he's still in hospital in intensive care back in his hometown or whatever. He's just nowhere close. And obviously Brock is going to come out, in the main event first with Heyman at Mania. But, they're sitting there and waiting. Drew's not coming out, and Paul Heyman grabs the mic. So it's almost like it's a weird type of end of WrestleMania. You know what I mean? You wouldn't even see something like this on an end of WrestleMania. So that's why if you cut this into it, I think it creates more of a hype. What's going on, guys? Is someone new going to come out and face Brock Lesnar? What's going to happen? So Paul Heyman grabs a mic. And he's cutting a promo, but he gets cut off. And this is where the magic happens, folks. This would send. There's no roof on Raymond James Stadium, but if there was, the roof would go into the atmosphere if you did this. You had it cut off by Drew McIntyre's old theme song, the Broken Dreams one. That hits the airwaves. That crowd would lose their absolute crap because from social media and people commenting everywhere that they want Drew McIntyre's old theme. And if you play it there, you do some sort of pirate entrance with that ship that's in that stadium with Drew McIntyre, whether he's flying to I don't know, he flies, you guys think about it, something. Or maybe either he gets a march of pirates that, you know what I mean? He's the captain and you get actors behind him as pirates from the ship, and he walks all the way down to the ring from there, and he comes out and he's looking 100%, and Brock is shocked. He's like, what the hell? I thought I just incapacitated this guy, and he's shook. He looks scared. And it would just create such an epic moment that these two go at it, tearing each other apart around the ring, announce tables used and whatnot. These guys just go nuts and have a 25-minute instant classic. You have that hype intro. As for the book winner, it's no question Drew McIntyre beats the Beast for the WWE Championship. Do I need to say more than this, ladies and gentlemen? Drew McIntyre winning the much-deserved WWE Championship in the main event of WrestleMania. Pyro going off in just absolute great end. You send everyone home happy. People are amazed. People calling it the greatest WrestleMania of all time. This is how you book a WrestleMania, ladies and gentlemen. You book it this way. You create, this is what you do every year. You try to one-up WrestleManias and make it the greatest ever. You cannot go into WrestleMania with mediocre, minor type pay-per-view matches because it never will work. So, I have to take a breath here. We're going to end this, guys. That's my Rebook WrestleMania card. You tell me what you think out there. Leave me a comment down in the YouTube section. You tweet at me at RealKyleMasters. You let me know what you would have done different, what matches you liked that I booked, and what you thought of the overall card. And let me know. Maybe let me know too if you guys want to see a 2K simulation of my WrestleMania card. I will do what I can to get that done for you. But other than that, guys, that's going to wrap it up for the Master's Degree podcast right here on the No Holds Barred Network, your source for all wrestling podcast content and more. I'm your host, as always, the self-proclaimed greatest host, guys, Kyle Masters. Make sure you join us this week on AEP. We're doing our preview predictions for the AEW Revolution pay-per-view. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. I'll see you guys later.
Surface feels more like a dream. In my